Hey everyone. Oh, I see Lefebvre. I don't know exactly how to say your name in the chat. Welcome. I'll let you guys get in for just a minute or two here. If you guys can hear us okay, definitely pop in the chat and let us know. And give me 1 second. I think I just removed that. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I'll give you guys 1 more minute to get in the room. Just had to remove a rude comment, so if anyone is gonna make comments like that, you will be banned. So don't do that again. All right, awesome. Okay, let's get this going. Obviously, everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight Behind the Art. I'm super excited for this episode with Coin Artist. I'll just go a little bit into how we met because you have obviously always been in this space for so long and have almost become, well, definitely have become a mentor to me. I look up to you so much and you've done such amazing things. But anyways, Coin Artist and I met back in, was it 2018, I think, of August, at a conference in Chicago. And I was totally fangirling over her. She had like all of this amazing artwork up for Neon District and her team there with her. And these huge banners that the conference had as well, with her artwork and my artwork right next to each other. And basically, we just got started talking, and Coin Artist was like, "Hey, what are you doing in October?" And I was like, "Not sure." And then she was like, "How about you come to a show in Paris with me and Pascal and show some of your artwork there?" So from the very beginning, the first time I ever met her, she was so amazing, so welcoming, like bringing newer people into the space along with all the fun things she was doing. So I'm super excited to have you on here. And that's kind of a little fun background story of how we met. But yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit. Obviously, most of you know that she's been in this space for a long time, and we'll be talking about that. And then also leads the team at Blockade Games.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Josie. I'm really excited you're doing these shows. It's cool to give more visibility to all the creatives in the space that you interact with on a daily basis. And I started out in the more creative side, just as a producer, making fine art and playing with cryptocurrency and trying to figure out how that could blend into my creative space. So that's how I started in about 2013. I was doing portraits for people in the space that I thought were interesting for magazine covers. A couple of them were in Bitcoin magazine. And that's how I met Diego Rodriguez, who's the lead artist for Neon District today.
So you met him
Anyways,
that far back?
yeah, well, so I actually did a show on him back
Oh.
then. It's horrible if you really want to look it up. Like I
I
did a little
do.
podcast show. And I fangirled Diego because he was doing some of the cover work for Bitcoin Magazine at the time. Anyways, he was on my radar, and then the editor from Bitcoin Magazine introduced us after I basically got into making puzzles, like treasure hunting puzzles for Bitcoin private keys by using artwork, so both physical and digital mediums. Um, and that's how I met a lot of my friends in this space. Actually, as you are aware, with the community, the creatives, they would just kind of like get together pretty quickly. And anyway, so as we were doing those interactive puzzles, they became more game-like. So ever since 2014, they became marketing campaigns, then they became interactive. Let's explore technology and introduce new technical concepts to educating communities. And then myself and the group I was working with, there was about 10 of us at the time. I mean, it was exhausting doing that cycle over and over again. So eventually, I just wanted to settle down and establish a core community, build a product that we could keep feeding into, and it could keep growing instead of relaunching over and over again. Um, And so that's how we started Blockade, and our first project was the Pineapple Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if anyone has, it's pineapplearcade.net, and it's an interactive, old school. It looks like a old school arcade, cyberpunk, has that cyberpunk ethos that we were all thinking about at the
Totally.
time back then too.
And the art for it
And
is
there are
really
many arcade
beautiful.
games, and the games are all memed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like the Pac-Man version of the game, but it's like it's a Bitcoin, and you have like it's fun to play. Ben, he's the CTO of Blockade, made that complete game in like a month. We shipped that in a month. It was amazing. We had people from our community, people that had solved puzzles previously. It was like a group of 15 people that just, I guess, we we came up with these concepts of the games, made the games, and shipped it all in a month and a half. And that was all backed by Pine from Pineapple Fund. If you remember who he was, he gave a big, generous gift of Bitcoin to different charities back at the height of Bitcoin, actually, at the end of 2017. So, anyways, Pine led that endeavor. And after that, we spun out into Neon District. And we've been working on Neon District since early 2018. And we've been shipping other creative projects on the side. So since the beginning, we have different community members that will come in and have ideas, and then just they'll create something that's fun and engaging. So if you're familiar with the Blockade community, they're puzzle solvers. They've been so supportive of us from day one. So I don't
They're
know.
in
I
the
think,
chat right now. We just had
are
Zayat
they?
follow. Thank you for the follow. But I will jump in and just say really quickly that I got introduced to the community basically through the puzzle that we did together for yours truly for the artwork. And your community is amazing. Like they're here right now supporting, and I have a chat with them obviously because they won the puzzle. A group of four of them or five of them won the puzzle, and they are just so awesome, so brilliant. Like finding out all these little loopholes in other games out there, and DMing the developers saying, "Hey, I found this little bug." But they were just so amazing to chat with, and in such positive spirits and giving back amazing feedback on things that I could do better next time, things I did great, and they're such an amazing community. So you guys have a strong one over there for sure.
It's been pretty fun. They'll find exploits.
Yep.
Zayat, who's in the chat, he's he probably doesn't want me to shill him too hard, but he's pretty famous for his bug bounty hunting. And
Yep.
J-Tob, if he's in the chat, he's an incredible puzzle solver. And Lefevre, who you were talking about, but they have found really critical exploits across lots of the different game companies
Yeah.
and brought it to people's attention respectfully. Um, so like I am so proud that they're in that community. Like I feel much safer when we're launching things because we know they're sitting there trying to break it at the same
Totally.
time.
100%.
we're we're releasing something called MetaBoss. So our studios actually has been working pretty hard to break MetaBoss at different times, and with our permission. Um, and it's a new upcoming game that we're releasing that actually it uses all of your existing NFTs in your wallet. It itself doesn't make, I mean, it'll make NFTs for rewards, but it doesn't require NFT. You don't have to buy NFTs from this particular game in order to play a game. It's like if you're already an NFT holder, it's a perfect game for you. Gives another utility to your existing assets. So I'm excited, for example, for your creative coins and tokens are now going to be game assets
Yeah.
through MetaBoss. And that's launching on Monday. So
Okay. I want to
yeah.
dive more into that, but before we do, I want to go backwards just a little bit, and then I want to dive into the game because I want to like go deep on that and like tell everyone what's
Mm-hmm.
going on with it. But before that, I kind of want to go way back and like do a little bit of chronological. But I don't even think I know how you initially got introduced to Bitcoin because you've been around for so long, and I just don't know how that happened for you.
So my family got into mining Bitcoin
Okay.
in 2012, I think 2012, 2013. I didn't really start paying attention until 2013. At first, I thought everyone was crazy, and we had people running to
They probably were
the,
crazy.
so they were doing wire transfers for Bitcoin. And in my experience of eBay, I was like, this is how you get scammed. What are you guys doing? So, yeah. Anyways, then we were mining, and then we were doing script mining, and so we all were gamers, so we all had gaming GPUs. Meanwhile, I was an artist, and so I wasn't really sure how I could participate. I started
Mhm.
listening to podcasts, Let's Talk Bitcoin, and a few others. I went through Twitter and I made different lists of interesting people I wanted to follow, which actually was a really great way to get a sense of the community, because at the time the Bitcoin community was basically the open source community. It was much crustier.
Yeah.
Um, and there really weren't that many artists at all. There was very few. So like the space today is how I always wanted it to be, but it's just taken a little while. So I guess that's how we started, was just my understanding. Okay, what is a distributed network? What does it mean to mine a Bitcoin? You know, you can have a private key, basically live anywhere and claim it at any time without anybody's permission, and now you have access to this money. um, those are all really pretty big ideas, and then taking that information and encoding it in interesting ways, like, so I guess it's just really playful, and as we see today, there's just so much opportunity to just play,
Yeah.
you know,
No, absolutely.
so
And I think you've been a really a driving force in that aspect. Like I said at the beginning, I mean, even taking me under your wing, taking under other artists under your wing, and kind of like propelling everyone forward. You have been what I want to see more in obviously I haven't been around nearly as long as you, but you've been what I want to see more in our ecosystem, in our space, just like a positive driving force that's just like going out and like doing things, and being creative, and just like leading the charge in that way. And I definitely want to see more of that. And I think it's obviously grown a long way since you started in that space. But I think that's amazing that you've done that for so long.
just you do so much better at the things that I tried to do when I was like your just everything with your podcast, your marketing, and oh my goodness, you're such a rising star. Um, but I did want to say, like, the NFTs, what's neat about them that's different than, for example, ERC20 tokens. Um, so earlier on, the ERC20 tokens, it really did feel like everybody was trying to be a video game, and some,
Mm-hmm.
like, the way people were marketing their different tokens and the promises they were making, like, this is gonna be AI plus, you know, all these hype words together. um and there was no actual value ever created. Eventually you just had these communities of bag holders, and nothing was ever made for to give those assets any utility. Some communities went and made things for themselves to give value to those assets that they had bought, but a lot of people were burnt, especially that 2014 phase. I mean, I don't think there's very few coins that still exist. There are some, but there's not as
Yeah.
many as, like, if we're thinking percentages, it's not a high percentage. And then 2016, same thing happened again, same cycle. But what's neat about NFTs is, like, everyone's focused on what are they building with these NFTs, what is the value being created, what is the economic cycle of these NFTs. So I think it's a higher, I don't, it just feels more real to me, as opposed to all the pipe dreams that we were feeling earlier on. It feels like now we're actually, I mean, even like with crypto voxels, and it's okay that it's not um, a AAA title yet.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of, it's okay that it's um, really highly experimental. It's just that
Absolutely.
everyone has these tools to go play and make their own value now. Um,
Right. Which has been really huge
I
for
mean,
them and a part
yeah.
of their success. And actually, there's a group of people right now that are streaming this Twitch live stream in Crypto Voxels, and like watching it together, and talking about it. Yeah, they're in the chat. But it's fun. It's fun that it's so experimental, and there are things that Ben's just like, oh, you want to make that work? Let's make that work. Sure. But no, I agree. Um,
It's not. It's fun to go through OpenSea now, right? And you see different assets, and you're like, "What is that asset? What does it do?" And yeah, I get surprised all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. Ben is also watching in Crypto Voxels. Hey, Ben. That's two chats at once. They're all chatting in Crypto Voxels, and then here in the chat as well. That's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about how you kind of started to form this team in the beginning, because obviously, for those of you that don't know, one of CoinArtist's most popular puzzle, um, I always, it's Flame and Torch, right? I don't want to, or is that not the title of it?
Got a few different names.
Okay.
One Flame and Six was the beginning
Okay.
of the address.
Okay. And that puzzle was obviously like one of the most well known. And then once it was cracked, it was worth how much at that time? A
I
lot.
think so. At the peak, it was a
Like
hundred
50,
thousand.
oh, 100,000?
And then it
Okay.
was solved 100,000, and then it was solved at
50,
50,000. It
right?
had five
Okay.
Bitcoin. Yeah,
Okay.
five
So
Bitcoin in it.
craziness. And you built that with Rob Myers, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
that,
Rob,
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like that, even like that early on, you're saying you met Diego way back when. You obviously were working with Rob for so long. And then Ben, from my understanding, the CTO, was actually one of the puzzle solvers for the different puzzles you were putting out. And that's how he came onto your team. So is that kind of like how this whole team came together, was just like organically through creating all of these amazing things together, and then the people who are solving it, the people who are, doing all the artwork, is that just, was it really just as organic as it seems?
Yep, that's accurate. Then we brought in. I mean, we expanded when we started to ramp up development. Which, you know what though, honestly, I think our best our best people with blockade. I shouldn't say that. I would say I've just really enjoyed having so much talent to pull from the from the community, the solvers, um, and people that I guess, yeah, it's been super organic. And then there's people that have felt that they would fit with us, that have then gotten their foot in the door with us. Like, for example, Kyle Gardner, who is our lead Unity developer currently, for Neon District. He's ridiculously talented, and he was working on a other title called Cats and Mechs, and he found us on his own accord. And our art director interviewed him, thought he was a great fit, and now he's just entered into the family. I guess we do protect that. We like the freedom to be creative, to have, we don't want to feel corporate, don't want to be stuffy, we don't want to be tied to being like something traditional. We really enjoy the experimental nature of our company, and being able to have the flexibilities, because this is our company. We've all built this from scratch, and so it had that ethos and culture as just basically the space that you guys had with crypto voxels, and that ability to collaborate and create. We want to protect that. It got a little trickier making a company. We did lose some of that flexibility, but I mean, it was just necessary. It was a necessary step we had to take.
Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
miss doing those quick projects, like sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine having a team under me and building a project like you guys are building, which is a huge feat. So it's amazing what you guys are working on. So do you want to tell, or what were you gonna say?
I was gonna tell you. There's a fun story about Ben. You were saying how he solved the SegWit. It was a SegWit puzzle that Charlie Lee had put out, um, and it was designed by somebody named Den, who's a really famous cypherpunk, and for making puzzles. And anyways, Ben was in his last year of his PhD, and I saw him solve his puzzle, and I was amazed how he was working with the community and just talking with people. So I recruited him to. I had released another puzzle. He was starting to work on it again, and I was like, "Hey, instead of that, why don't we like make a contract, and you could get like actual pay, known guaranteed pay for something, and we could do this other thing." So that was how we started. And then eventually he dropped out of his PhD program to found
Really?
Blockade.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
I did
So,
not know that.
um, yep. Ben is the real deal. Like, and he can solve anything. Honestly, you can throw any problem at him, and he'll just figure it out really quickly. So, yeah, Ben, if he's in the chat, I don't know, but he's my guy.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. I met him for the first time in Paris, and ever since then, he's just so awesome. And then we obviously, when we all went to Mexico together back in February, that was an awesome trip. Um, oh, also, we're looking for, in the chat, we're looking for some plasma bear hints. If you want to drop any hints on our viewers here.
Oh, about the puzzle, the one that hasn't been solved, or are they talking about Puzzle Bears 2.0?
I don't know. Chime in and let us know which one you're talking about. The puzzle!
I don't
Exclamation
know.
point.
Um, I could give you 49 reasons why I should say something, but I can't really ruin it for everybody.
Okay. That was your answer. Sorry if you didn't like it. Um oh, we do have Ben in the chat. He said I'll give a hint. And Crown Ghoul said you shush Ben. You guys are so funny. So let's talk a little bit about the games that you guys are producing at Blockade and kind of like the venture on what you guys have been doing, what kind of everyone can look forward to coming up, and then I definitely want to dive into Metaboss as well and give people kind of the ins and outs of that.
Um, so I guess like upcoming things that are happening with Blockade, we have Metaboss, we have Neon District. So Neon District is, instead of waiting for the whole game to be complete, we're doing a phased rollout now. So starting as soon as Metaboss rolls out, we're pivoting some of our engineers into we're doing a refactor on the Neon District portal website. You're going to be able to craft your characters, and so you don't have just arms. It drives me crazy. So you don't just have arms. You're going to be able to make cool characters. You're going to be able to trade them. We're settling on a new network and a new. We're a little bit on the fence about the possibility of being on mainnet Ethereum 2.0, but we're not going to wait that long. So we'll figure out a solution in the middle. Anyways, and then we have with our Unity development, we're going to be porting it to web, which is so that's all still in development right now. Like Kyle Gardner's working on those pieces, but you'll be able to have this gameplay in the web, basically with all that's using all of the Unity work we've been doing, and we're working out that design currently. But that's all. So all these phases are approaches in which help us get to a place where we can. The problem with Neon District is we have to have it fully funded before we start. Since there's so many people working on it, we can't have all these highly qualified people only guaranteed pay for a month and then dropping off. Like the milestones have to be really coordinated and everything needs to be fully funded for it. But we are doing all the steps in between to keep that progress going, so the Unity development is still going. All our pipeline, everything we've done, so everything's feeding into the season 1 release. It's just that there's going to be additional steps that are needed once those initial phases are completed in order to get season 1 out. We are much further along than we've ever been, though. In making the game, I'm just throwing back, but in making the game, I don't know how many game designs we had gone through and thrown away, and Unity builds we had gone through and thrown away. We're in a place now where we've never really been. The traction we're making is awesome.
That's exciting.
So I'm really excited. Yeah. So anyways, so Neon District, and then new game, Kyle Gardner's game he's also doing a similar sort of phased approach with the release of Cats and Max. And we did point to it in our update we just pushed out. I think it's on our Twitter, Neon District Twitter, or Blockade Games Twitter too. If you want to get a preview of that game, it's a mobile game, and it's actually an engine. It's an engine game as well, if you're familiar with engine. So, and I know that his community manager is in the chat if anybody has any questions about Cats and Mechs.
Okay, that's awesome. I like that it's a mobile game. That will be really interesting to see what kind of users get onto that.
And so Metaboss is also mobile friendly.
Oh, really?
Too. And it's already in the Engine DApp browser, DApp store. So you can. We're supporting Cats and Mechs, we're supporting Age of Rust assets, we'll be supporting other engine multiverse assets. I'm excited to be working with that community. They're pretty vibrant.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I kind of want to dive into. We have some people in the chat saying they want to catch up with all this, and I'm sure people are excited to just jump in. I've talked to some people who have had Neon District assets for a little while, but really haven't like dived into it yet, and they were just like catching wind again and coming back to it. So this is honestly the perfect time to just get into all of the other things that you guys have going on that are going to be leading up to season one. I want to talk about Metaboss for people who in the chat who know nothing about it. Do you want to give us like a little bit of a rundown? Because I think it's really exciting what you're doing with that.
Metaboss is a idle, it's a free-to-play idle MMO. And what that means is it doesn't have active gameplay like you would have, in a traditional RPG type of game. It's more of a strategy. It's a web-based game. It's supposed to be really lightweight, but it is interesting how it organizes your NFTs to having different stats, and then you can join a faction and decide if because your NFTs will have a different score. So then you'll pick a faction that, I would think you would pick a faction that's best for your NFTs. Then you're going to have this dedicated team, and you have to work together to coordinate how to play the game to have the best results. So it's basically these three factions versus the bad guy. And the bad guy plays a whole entire week. Okay, let's break it up. So you have this recruiting phase, which is the first half of a week. And the second half is what's called the showdown. And it's where it's an asymmetric play where one faction goes head on with the bad guy, Scourge, every couple days. It takes the rest of the week out for that to play out. And at the end of that, if Fleck is successful, then they get a reward distribution. Scourge is the bad guy is successful, they get the rewards distribution. This is the first time we're ever distributing at ERC20 token. So that to us is really exciting. We worked with OpenSea to make an exclusive marketplace where this ERC20 token can go. It's basically like a ticket from like when you're at an arcade and you go to the arcade prize counter, and then you can go and get, in this case, it'll be an NFT prize, but you'll be auctioning, competing against other players for the NFTs that are available that we've collected. We're going to be featuring Decentraland for week one.
Very cool.
And they're donating some assets. We're working with their community manager. And so in the store, it'll be these Decentraland assets. And we're going to give a boost to anyone that's a Decentraland asset holder. In the game, you'll have extra power-ups. So I guess I'm really excited to basically pulling together all of these communities, giving them something that hopefully adds value across all of their NFTs they already owned without asking them to do something new. Right. Or as far as different, like you don't have to go spend money on anything. You can if you want to, if you're being really competitive.
Right. But you can also choose, you can be strategic and play during a time, like if I hold a ton of CryptoVoxels land and all my friends hold a ton of CryptoVoxels land, we can go during a week that CryptoVoxels is being featured and we would have more power, right?
Yep. Okay. So I haven't talked to the CryptoVoxels team yet, but if they're listening, I'm hoping that we can feature them for the second week.
But that would be really cool, because then you would partner up with like people you kind of already know in this space, but then you get hooked on this game and it's really fun and you can win these like tickets and spend it in this OpenSea marketplace, but then you're also excited about it and you want to get to know other people who might have Decentraland land or who might have a ton of Neon District skins or like whatever it is. You want to like get buddy with those people because that next week you might want to be on their winning team. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and we're also going to be, something that I'm really interested in is the esports betting. So we've been talking to a few different groups, and we might just do it ourselves, but we've started the development process of it, but betting on rounds. Oh. So if Ethereum users can come in and just use ETH, and let's say they didn't join, they don't have NFTs, for example, but they're interested in what's happening and they want to bet. So they could bet on just per round. Mm-hmm. And then there'll be every round there would be a payout.
Okay, that would also be huge. If I'm like, okay, I want to bet with this whale, I think he might win this kind of thing.
Yep, and people will be right, and you'll be listening, and you don't know if people are lying to you, if they're telling you the truth. There's some information that's visible. I mean, there is some stats that will show, but there's a random roll involved. Mm-hmm. And then I guess their participation of players from the different teams are actually participating. If people get lazy and go to bed, then who you thought was going to win that round could totally lose. But I love the idea of bridging in Ethereum users and introducing them to NFTs.
Yeah.
So it becoming an onboarding ramp to all of these different NFT communities, basically. Because our NFT community is still really niche.
Oh yeah.
I
I
mean,
think it's
especially with
you have to like take
the
a step
broader,
back and truly see that like our space is really small.
yeah, well, we're a subset of Ethereum users
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
for the most part. So yeah, getting everybody NFTs and familiar with NFTs is definitely a goal. So MetaBoss is targeting, it's not trying to be a mainstream game. It's targeting all of our existing NFT users, and then also with the focus of educating more Ethereum users.
That's very cool. So what can you like if I won what are the what is the like ticket currency that called for the metaboss like if I won?
It's it's called a cherry.
Okay. So if I won
Like, yeah.
cherries, a ton of cherries,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to the OpenSea marketplace, like what as a winner could I expect to see there? Can everyone see the marketplace? Do you have to like have cherries to be able to see the marketplace?
No, you'll be able to see the marketplace. You'll just have to have cherries in order to participate in the auctions.
Okay,
So the
cool.
auctions will, yeah.
And the auctions could
Um,
be there could be anything in there, right? Like there could even be an exclusive like Josie piece of artwork. There could be artwork, land, wearables. There could be anything in there, right?
I've been hustling Diego to make us fun, to give us some fun assets. But yes, we can support anybody that. So what we've decided is anybody that wants to contribute to the prize pool, we will give them the in-game currency, which allows you to participate and have basically more power in MetaBoss by having more in-game currency in addition to whatever NFTs you already hold. So we would be willing to do like a USD equivalent trade of that in-game currency for somebody's assets, especially if they're assets. So assets we support. We have a list of the assets we support. Super rare and different art assets are on there as well. And if you need your asset created, but you need us to, it's a different contract. We can look at that. But like, let's say you minted them in the OpenSea marketplace, we have the functionality to support that.
Right.
So you can turn in assets, or let's say you have assets that are worthless now, but they're still supported in MetaBoss, like a completely catatonic CryptoKitty. Let's say you have 50 of them. Well, in MetaBoss, they still have a pretty decent use case. And we will trade the market, whatever market value, and we can negotiate. But anyways, yeah, it's a great, like, I guess, place to recycle. Could be the recycling bin.
No, I think that's really fun. That's exciting to kind of have this like play a game and then you're also getting rewarded items that have value. Like and obviously there can be some that might not and you just have a sentimental connection to them. But that's exciting. You're getting paid if you're able to like join up in a crew, work together and win that. So I think that's pretty cool. Are there going to be like are there different I guess I'll see on Monday. I'm excited for the launch of it, but I want to see like how it works. I guess I need to find a team. I need to find a team with Decentraland. Actually, I have a few people in mind if Decentraland is the first week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you sync your wallet, it'll tell you the
Okay.
team that it will recommend a team for you. Um, and then you could be playing against the Decentraland asset owners, or yeah, you could try to find and hook up with some of them. But there's encrypted chat, so your team will have a way to talk publicly
Mm-hmm.
by knowing your like how to decrypt it.
Okay.
So, but the other teams won't know. We Ben set up a bot on Twitter to show um, maybe he could chime in. I don't know if he has a way for the teams on Twitter to do encrypted chat. I thought he was talking about it, but anyways, it's going to be showing the rounds outcomes. So yeah, I'm interested. You have to keep in mind that this is a soft launch,
Mm-hmm.
so we're launching it basically as early as we can.
Yeah.
There's still going to be things that need to be tweaked, and as far as the UX goes, it's a little confusing still for people, but we'll be working on all that as far as like the how to play experience.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to go. Like I've been a part of some soft launches, like even with async, or when they launched. I mean, a lot of things are still really manual right now, but it gives them the time to figure out what is the most important thing to work on next, and sort of do that based on what they're actually the feedback that they're actually getting from users. So I always think that that's the best way to go. Um, we had a couple questions come in, and I don't know what some of this is, so maybe it's game lingo that I just don't know. Any partnership with Double Jump Tokyo?
Oh yeah, my crypto heroes. We are talking with them, and I'll have to follow up with Michael. Michael and I are pretty good friends over there. We are supporting the NCH in MetaBoss, but as far as having like a NCH week, I think that that's definitely on our radar to do that.
Okay, cool. And then there's a couple things that I'm not sure, so I'm gonna let Ben field those questions because I don't know what they mean. Um, it's so funny because the gaming community is just like I've never been a gamer, and seriously, the closest I've ever gotten to being a gamer was basically when I got introduced to crypto voxels and like was playing like plasma bears and like all of this like stuff that is totally NFT land and no one would ever know outside of crypto people like at all what I'm talking about. So all of these like gamer things, I'm like, I have no idea what that means. Um, Someone said, so what should I stack now? I think you can obviously like Coin Artist said, we'll have they'll have a few things going on, so you don't need to stack anything now. Just get in the right team.
Yeah, just learn how to play. I mean, I think the beginning is learning how to play. Um, we have the list on if somebody wants to like look and see what's being supported, we have that on the MetaBoss Twitter. Um, and I think Neon District retweeted it too. So, anyways,
Cool.
the MetaBoss Twitter has the list out there.
And
Yeah,
I'll
you can
put the
see.
MetaBoss Twitter and obviously non-district and all the Twitters in my Discord after this. Oh, Twitter handle. Yeah, people are asking for it. I think Ben can hopefully, if you're, I think you're still on here, Ben. You can just post that in there for the handle. Sweet. That's super exciting. I'm excited to see. I'm all about like bringing different areas of our ecosystem together, and I know you are as well. And that's a little bit what I was trying to do with the puzzle that we worked on together. Um, and I'm really excited to see this happen in a bigger way, because I just think it's so important for our ecosystem, especially being still so small, and still relatively really early, uh, when you zoom out. So I think it's really important that you're doing so many things, that involve a little bit of everyone. So I think that's awesome. We have some people agreeing in the chat. Agreed.
I'm excited about so with Plasma Bears, we're 2.0. There's a lot of thought being put into how do we allow the different artists in their community being able to have a expedited way to um, submit art and have it basically auto rendered on the bear parts.
Oh,
Right. There, of course, we'd have to have a curation process of some sort, or
sure.
a way you could get banned for negative things. But largely, this space is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like being able to map those textures to skins instantly and mint your own stylized bears and whatnot. Have your own promotional campaigns with bears, and the bears were so neat because you could just distribute them anywhere. And actually, the technology has gotten a bit better since we launched Plasma Bears. Like that, what is it? Link drop? Is it link drop?
I don't know.
I love the one where you scan it and then it ports the NFT right into your wallet.
Oh, okay. I
Is, it,
haven't
is
used
that
it,
it's
but that
it's
sounds
an
awesome.
artist introduced it to me at NFT NYC and I was pretty impressed. Yeah, the onboarding of
Oh,
it was pretty awesome. Yeah,
okay.
it
I'm
just
not
looked for the
familiar with
wallet
that.
I already had. Yeah.
I need to look into that. We had a couple questions come in. Is Neon District still going to be on chain? And what will be the substitute for Loom? Which I'm not sure if I think you said earlier you're still looking into the substitution. I think.
We're looking at Matic, we're looking at Near, we're looking at Scale as far as layer two substitutes, but we're also thinking about possible ways in which we could uh, launch directly on Ethereum 2.0 if that made the most sense. But in the meantime, so people can trade, we're thinking about how, if we were to go the Ethereum 2.0 route, how would we, what would happen for right now with people's assets? But yeah, those other networks are really appealing too. So, but we were really protective of the user experience. So can a user have a free to play gaming experience? These are different boxes we have to check. Yeah, and the criteria we're considering as we're walking through the development of using each network.
Nope, that totally makes sense. And we also had someone say bears still look slick looking back at them, which is very true. I really like the bears. And the plasma bears, I think I DM'd you after that came out. Like, I was like sitting there doing the adventures for so long, and I would like do it every night before I went to bed. And it was fun to even just like, I liked how the community got together and someone was like, I need this, like arms. And I was like, okay, I'll send you some arms. um, and yeah, no, the bears do still look really slick. I agree. And
We're
I loved
talking
all
about some
the.
pretty major things for the bears, like bears having themed lands, themed bears, themed people being able to establish those themes in the bears. Blockade starting out by establishing the lands and bears. The mid to end game design is being worked on right now. So currently Plasma Bears doesn't have what's called a mid or end game in the product, because it was more like a tech demo. We didn't really expect to support it, which we actually battled with that originally, because when it launched, the response was so positive to it, and actually the users we had, our KPIs were much better than what we thought we were going to be working with. We almost pivoted to just supporting Plasma Bears and putting Neon District just on hold. But because Neon District has that mid-game, end-game figured out, and it's also active gameplay, where Plasma Bears doesn't have that. But these are all pieces that are being considered right now with a portion of the Blockade Games team is dedicating their time to figuring that out right now.
Awesome. Jimmy said, make it a scrolling discovery experience. Have you played Plasma Bears yet, Jim?
Because I feel like it does have that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's played. Oh, he said yeah. I also think he's biased because he is Avastars, which if you have you checked out Avastars yet?
I haven't actually played Avatar. I've just seen it in the marketplace.
Yeah, it has that scrolling experience. So he's trying to get you over to his side, I think.
Okay. I will check that out.
Sweet. And then we have some people hyped about the Bears. Wait till you see our pilots, Josie. Some are backed by 10,000 engine. Yeah, that's a pretty decent chunk.
Have you guys heard of Brian Flynn's new project, Rabbit Hole?
I saw him just post about it recently. I haven't dived into it yet.
I think we might do something with it for MetaBoss, just because it's kind of a neat product, but it's almost like a badge system, but it's experience points based for unlocking like achievements. So you could do it for anything. Let's say you make a puzzle, you have achievement, like ways to unlock those achievements, but it has to interact with smart contracts. But it's pretty neat. So it's worth. I just like it because it's like a customizable tool for people that want to teach people about something in blockchain that they're doing.
Yeah.
Giving them a reward system.
Like milestone kind of like checkpoints. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
What do the checkpoints like? Do they look like something in particular, or is it an app that you follow along with?
So his web app, I'm pretty sure it branches with your achievements.
Okay.
But you design them, so anyone can go in and design their own quests, basically.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, no, I have to look more into that, and it's always it's interesting to see. Obviously, after he kind of made a career pivot to work on something that he's passionate about, I think that's always like when really exciting things come out. So I think that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Sorry, I'm just reading some of these comments that are coming.
It's just too bad he's not as good as I am in VR.
Have you battled him in some games before?
I'm just kidding. No,
what headset do you have? Do you have a Quest?
My coach. Yeah, I have the Quest.
He's your coach. I
So
love
if
that.
anybody wants to get into this, Echo Arena VR. I'm working with some of my friends, some of the guys at OpenSea, Ben, myself, Brian. There's a bunch of us, some people at Idea. Like, there's all kinds of people getting into this game. It's like the first esports game.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone wants to play it, just ping me and
Oh yeah,
we can play.
Trislet said I have Echo Arena. It's great. Oh, and Crown Gold
Yeah,
just downloaded it. Okay, that's sweet. How?
yeah,
What kind of game is it? Like, is it something? If I'm not a gamer, am I gonna be able to learn it or no?
yeah. I think you would be able to learn it because
Okay.
it's really using the physical space. Have you read Ender's Game?
No.
So it's the idea is a zero gravity arena, and you're floating
Mm-hmm.
around, and there's obstacles, and then you have just different triggers in which help you with your movements. Once you give it till level 7, you get to level 7.
Level
um
7 sounds like
and
it's
if
hard to get to.
no, it's not that hard, it's not that hard, but once then you will have mastered the movements, so you won't feel so sick anymore. But I
Okay.
was sick pretty early on, so I had to pace myself to get there.
Yeah.
But now from like level on, I've been, it's actually gotten super fun because I don't want to throw up, and I understand how to do everything in the game. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Okay.
exciting.
Okay, I'll give
You
it a
punch you
try. You
Yeah,
punch people?
yeah, you punch people. It's you
Okay.
grab them and you punch them, and then you throw these discs, and then you